Good morning. I want to thank everybody for being here today. Florida is leading the nation in cracking down on dangerous kratom-derived 7-OH products, what many people have called gas station morphine. Our message today is simple. If you sell or distribute these illegal products, we will find you, we will remove them, and you will be held accountable. These products target teens and young adults with flashy packaging and false wellness claims, but they're just as addictive as opioids. They're just addictive opioids. 7-OH destroys lives just like street-level heroin and fentanyl. Since Attorney General issued his emergency rule to schedule concentrated 7-OH as a controlled substance, we've removed nearly 18,000 illegal packages of 7-OH from store shelves across 30 counties. We have found 67 schools within a half a mile of locations where our inspectors removed illegal 7-OH products. And in Jacksonville, 2 schools were across the street from one of these 2 stores. We won't let it sneak into our communities disguised as a supplement. This is about keeping Florida families safe and protecting consumers who think they are buying something natural, but are really buying high-powered narcotics. FTAX inspectors are on the front lines every day working hand in hand with partners to pull dangerous products off shelves. We're proud to stand with the Attorney General Uthmeier and Sheriff Waters. This is what teamwork looks like: swift action, clear rules, and real enforcement. Today we are filing a new emergency labeling rule that ensures that manufacturers and retailers can't hide behind vague labels or misleading marketing. Every product must clearly state that 7-OH concentration in parts per million. If the 7-OH concentration is too high, it's illegal and will be removed. A few years ago, we sounded the alarm on Kratom. Today, Florida is doing what others wouldn't, putting public safety first. The Attorney General's previous emergency rule put 7-OH in the same category as heroin, LSD, and fentanyl analogs, and that's where it belongs. Florida will always choose protecting kids and families over protecting the profits of bad actors. Working with Attorney General Uthmeier and Sheriff Waters, we are making it clear we won't rest until dangerous drugs like 7-OH are off the market and out of our neighborhoods. At this time, I'm going to invite the Attorney General for a few remarks.
Sheriff, I see you brought in the high podium today to make me look short. Thanks for having us, Sheriff. Again, it's great to be here in a big city in Florida where crime rates are going down. You know, we look across the country at so many blue city sanctuary cities where they're still struggling with high crime rates, tons of murders. We've got a sheriff and his office that have led the way in cutting a murder rate in half in this city. Crime rates are going down because we back our law enforcement, we put criminals behind bars, and we protect our families. It's really not that complicated. When you support these guys and let them do their jobs, they do them well, and we're all the safer because of it. So thanks for being here today to highlight some great results. I want to thank the commissioner here and his law enforcement team for getting almost 18,000 products off the shelves that are dangerous. This 7-OH product, it's a drug. Gas station morphine, I think, is a pretty good description to describe the risk that it presents, especially to our kids. Several weeks back, we met with the FDA commissioner. Shortly after the FDA announced an advisory pointing states out to the danger of 7-OH, a fairly new concentrate that's found naturally in kratom, but when extracted and when chemically enhanced, it can be 13 times more potent than morphine. And this is what's been on shelves in gas stations, retail stores, 7-Elevens, right next to candy. We've got to get this stuff away from our kids. I'm a big believer that government should let businesses do their thing, stay out of the way, except in the most extreme of circumstances. And that is what this is. It was an emergency. We were getting reports up and down the state of adverse health consequences, emergency room visits, including kids. And at that point, we had to step in. So we quickly issued an emergency rule. We rescheduled this drug. It can no longer be commercially sold on the shelves. And thanks to our agriculture law enforcement team, we are cracking down and we are getting it away from the hands of our kids. So we're going to continue to go up and down the state, hold wrongdoers accountable, and let people know, stay away from our kids. So, Sheriff, thanks again for the job you do and for hosting us here this morning.
Yes, sir. So thank you, General. Thank you, Commissioner. And good morning. Thank you all for being here today. A few weeks ago, the men beside me took decisive action to protect Floridians by banning the sale of dangerous compound known as 7-OH in stores across our state. And today, we are here to emphasize the importance of that action. For far too long, dangerous and unregulated substances like 7-OH have been allowed to creep into our neighborhoods. And while they may be sold under the disguise of harmless products, the reality is that they pose a very real threat to the health and safety of our families and our kids. I want to commend Attorney General Uthmeier and Commissioner Simpson for their leadership and swift action to ensure 7-OH is no longer available on store shelves in Florida. Locally, our narcotics unit sees the consequences of these substances firsthand. And just last week, JSO Narcotics detectives seized 341.4 grams of Kratom while conducting a search warrant. These are not victimless crimes. Every package sold has the potential to destroy lives, tear apart families, and put an added strain on our healthcare system and law enforcement resources. The action to remove them from our store shelves sends a clear message. Florida will not tolerate dangerous, addictive substances being pushed onto our citizens and our kids. Our agency remains committed to working alongside our state partners to keep those poisons off of our streets, to hold those dealers accountable, and to protect the very people that we serve in Jacksonville and across our great state. So thank you.
At this time, I should probably invite Dr. Curran up. And Dr. Curran runs our department that manages this type of product and many others, including hemp. And we're very proud of his work, and we'll be happy to try to answer any questions if there are any.
There's been a lot of legislation in recent years looking to either fully ban Kratom or further regulate it. Obviously, this reclassification of 7-OH is coming through an emergency rule. Is there still a place for the legislature to step in here? Is the ultimate goal to schedule Kratom, or the concentration's below a certain amount, or still okay with it?
So this emergency rule is only good until the legislature comes back to meet. So ultimately, they're the policy-making branch. Appropriately, they can either ratify the rule, amend it, or impose restrictions at their discretion. I certainly think when it comes to hemp and kratom and some of these new products that we're all still learning about, that there's a lot we don't know. Are there some medical therapeutic, advances that could come with some of these products? Sure. Are there things that could be prescribed by physicians to be helpful? Sure. But at the end of the day, I think it's up to the legislature to do the deep dive and really figure out, what protections we want to have in place. We've had great legislation recently, especially in the context of vaping, where my office is looking at products that are advertised and attractive to kids, and we've got to stop that. It's vapes in the classroom today. It's very different than cigarettes. Kids are pulling them out of pockets and killing brain cells ad nauseum. I don't think we're going to defeat China and our adversaries if everybody's high every day. So we're continuing to look at this. Again, the legislature will be the appropriate body for long-term policy.
Follow up on that, just because you mentioned vapes. Your office came out with the stop sale list back, I guess, in January, and gas stations and all the like, smoke shops or whatever, were supposed to stop selling those products 60 days later in March. But according to state data, there's been no citations or fines issued in any of our local counties here in Northeast Florida. I'm guessing that enforcement probably falls on DVPR. Are you satisfied with the level of enforcement you've seen so far?
We're not. We're still looking for more resources to enforce. This is a brand new policy. I think the first list came out. The second one is coming fairly soon. I know your office has pulled out a lot of products too. So I think the commissioner's doing a great job. We got to work with other agencies that have authorities to properly get these things off the shelves and levy fines where appropriate.
Is it FDAX that's in charge of the nicotine
No, yes, we are in charge of hemp and obviously these kratom products and many other products that we're inspecting on a daily basis. So at this time, we are not responsible for the vaping products. And we don't do any of the vaping products.
The hemp ones.
The hemp vaping, right, hemp, but not, that's right. Nicotine falls under the BPR.
So then what is the enforcement going to look like in Jacksonville, primarily towards the 708 ban? Are we just gonna have detectives coming into every gas station convenience store, looking at the products on the shelves?
Yeah, so from FDAC's perspective, we have inspectors stationed statewide, including here in Jacksonville, and our inspectors do go into convenience stores, smoke shops, warehouses, and things like that. And if anything is in greater concentration than the Attorney General's emergency rule stipulates, those would come off sale immediately. We would stop sale them. They couldn't be moved from that point. And then at that point, they're deemed controlled substances, so they would have to be disposed of properly. They can't be sent back to the manufacturer. They can't be thrown in the trash. These are actual narcotics. They're drugs, so they have to be disposed of in a proper manner, as any other drug would be. And law enforcement can speak, in detail to that as well.
Are there criminal penalties associated with selling these products at this point? I mean, are smoke shop owners getting arrested, more or less?
There can be, yes. I mean, they're scheduled substances, so yes, there can be.
What kind of health effects are you seeing when people, especially teens, use these products?
So when it comes to 7-OH, it is, as the Attorney General reported, is about 13 times more potent than morphine. And I think we all are familiar with morphine, it's a painkiller and it's addictive. And so when you take painkillers, it has a euphoric effect. It kind of decreases your mental functions and such like that. And when you're addicted to something, this is something that your body craves and it goes back for more and more and more. So it's really a detriment to youth, especially who may be naive in the effects of these things. They get hooked on these things, and it's a very difficult process to become unaddicted.
I know that 7-OH acts similar to an opioid, but it's not technically an opioid. When you're looking at like overdose situations, does Narcan work on these products?
So 7-OH is in the opioid family. It has the same effects as that. As far as with Narcan working on that, I'm not a physician, so I really can't speak to whether it does or doesn't. But it is in the opioid family.
Does Georgia have the same enforcement, and if not, does that create some black market where you're gonna have people buying it in some other state, bringing it in Florida and selling it here?
So I can't speak to Georgia's laws or Georgia's enforcement, but that black market, as you referred to, unfortunately exists everywhere. And it's been a lifelong thing for all law enforcement to try to eliminate a black market. And so we just do our best that we can with the resources to try to make that as difficult as possible in Florida.
Is Florida like the only state doing this, or is other states doing it in terms of this particular?
We're out front when it comes to this. There aren't too many states that are doing what we're doing. And states do contact us when it comes to 7-OH and hemp and other things like that. They do contact us to learn more about what we've done and our experiences. So we're in the forefront with that.
A little off-topic question. Obviously, the open carry ruling has been in the news. Your office issued some guidance recently. I know GSO put out a statement as well. I think there's maybe still some questions because it's so new in our state. What does open carry look like, especially when it comes to long guns? Do you have to have it on a strap? Are you allowed to hold it in your hand? I mean, for gun owners out there who want to exercise this right but want to do so in a proper fashion so they're not breaking the law or, holding their firearm in an intimidating or harassing way, I mean, what can you kind of tell us in terms of what is okay, what is not?
So the first DCA, as you mentioned, they issued a ruling striking down the state's longstanding prohibition on open carry is unconstitutional, making open carry the law of the state. Where no other appellate court in the state has ruled, the opinion of the first DCA will apply statewide. So I agree with the opinion. I think it's consistent with our constitutional rights and the meaning that the founders intended when they wrote the document. What does it mean today? It applies broadly to all firearms. However, there are other sections of Florida statute. You cannot take firearms into schools, into classrooms, and you cannot, hold a firearm in a way that is threatening, rude, careless, or is going to intimidate others. So my advice to people out there is, these rights, we strongly protect them, but we also strongly oppose criminal behavior. If somebody's out there acting in a dangerous way, our law enforcement is going to step in. So I hope people won't be dumb out there running around with long guns pointing them at people. That's not the goal here. The founders wanted the Second Amendment to protect us from largely a tyrannical government. Today with the evil we're seeing with, some of the radical ideologies, I think protecting yourself and your family is more important than ever, but that doesn't mean be careless.
Do you think the legislature's role to step in, maybe further define some of these? Because I know I'm trying to think of the word specifically in statute, more or less, oh God, I'm drawing a blank, I'm sorry. I think you know what I'm talking about.
I think there's probably some cleanup needed because some of the, the laws that were written that haven't been struck down were written at a time when open carry was not the law of the state. So I think there's probably some cleanup. I mean, I hope the legislature won't come back and, try to do heavy tightening. I believe open carry is good policy for the state. Majority of states have it out there. The world isn't ending. I think it's important to be in line with our United States Constitution.
It's also, Attorney General, in terms of the Baker County, the detention facility there, can you kind of give us a snapshot where that stands right now? Are there any kind of milestone events coming up that people should be watching for as that gets more into operation?
Yeah, the latest that I've been briefed on is that it's up and running, it's receiving detainees, and everything's going very well. Alligator Alcatraz, which never shut down, continues to operate. Deportation flights going out of there multiple times a week. Florida continues to lead. I think we've got more than 3 times the number of detentions and deportations than any other state in the country. We're happy to support the Trump administration to deliver on this promise and ultimately restore American sovereignty and public safety.
Detention flights have started out of Baker County as well? Or is that
I think so. I don't know that for sure, but I know that it is up and running.
Thank you. Thank y'all for coming in this morning.